Why does time feel faster as we get older? Have you ever noticed that when you were a kid, a single summer felt almost endless? 3 months felt like an entire lifetime, but now a year can disappear so quickly that December feels like it was yesterday. You blink, and suddenly it's another year. So, why does time seem to speed up as we get older? The strange part is this: time itself isn't changing, your brain is. And the way your brain experiences time can change dramatically throughout your life. When you're 5 years old, 1 year is a huge part of everything you've ever experienced. If you're five, 1 year is about 20% of your entire life. But if you're 50, 1 year is only 2%. So the same 12 months can feel completely different depending on how much life you've already lived. But that's only part of the story. There's something even more important happening inside your brain. Think about your childhood, your first day of school, your first best friend, your first vacation, your first time riding a bicycle, your first birthday party that you actually remember. Everything was new. And when something is new, your brain pays attention. It notices more details, it creates more memories. And those memories can make a period of time feel much longer when you look back at it. Now, compare that with an ordinary Tuesday when you're an adult. You wake up, you check your phone, you eat breakfast, you go to work or school, you come home, you watch something, you go to sleep. Then you do almost the exact same thing tomorrow and the next day and the next. Your brain doesn't need to carefully record every tiny detail, it already knows the routine. And this creates a strange illusion. The less new stuff you experience, the fewer unique memories your brain creates. And when you look back at a period filled with fewer memorable events, it can feel shorter. That's why your childhood can seem enormous in your memory. Not necessarily because time actually passed more slowly, but because your brain filled that time with so many new experiences. Imagine taking a road trip through a completely unfamiliar country. Every street looks different, every building catches your attention. You see new faces, new signs, new landscapes. Your brain is constantly collecting information. Now imagine driving the same road every day. After a while, you barely remember the journey. The distance didn't change, but your experience of it did, and your brain can treat life in a similar way. This is one reason routines can make years feel like they're disappearing. But there's another strange effect. When you're actually experiencing something unpleasant, time can feel incredibly slow. Waiting at a doctor's office, sitting through a boring class, waiting for someone who said, "I'll be there in 5 minutes." Those 5 minutes can feel like 50. But when you look back later, that entire afternoon might barely exist in your memory. So there's a difference between how fast time feels while you're living it and how long that period feels when you remember it. And this is where things get really interesting. Your brain doesn't have a perfect internal stopwatch. It builds your sense of time from information, attention, memories, changes, emotions, and experiences. When you're paying close attention to time, every second can feel noticeable. But when you're deeply focused on something, hours can disappear. You've probably experienced this while watching a great movie or playing a game. You think you've been doing it for 20 minutes. Then you look at the clock, and somehow 3 hours have passed. Your brain basically says, oops. But there's still a bigger question. If routine makes time feel faster, does that mean we can make life feel longer? Not literally. You can't turn a year into two, but you can make your experience of that year feel richer. Try doing something you've never done before. Visit a new place, learn a new skill, talk to someone you normally wouldn't talk to, change your routine, take a different route home. Try something that makes your brain pay attention. Because when your life is filled with new experiences, your brain has more unique moments to remember. And those memories can make a period of life feel much bigger when you look back. This might explain why childhood seems so long. A child is constantly discovering the world. Almost everything is new. The first snow, the first school, the first friend, the first time seeing the ocean, the first time getting scared by something completely ridiculous. But as adults, we already know much more about the world, so fewer things surprise us. And that can make years blur together. Monday becomes Tuesday, January becomes February. Then suddenly you're wondering how it's already August. So maybe the problem isn't that life is actually getting faster. Maybe your brain is becoming more efficient at processing a familiar life. And that creates a strange paradox. The more familiar your life becomes, the faster it can seem to pass. But the more new experiences you create, the more moments your brain has to remember. So if you ever feel like the years are flying by, maybe the answer isn't to somehow slow down time. Maybe it's to give your brain more things worth remembering because you can't stop the clock, but you can make the moments inside it feel bigger. And maybe that's the real secret. Time doesn't necessarily feel shorter because you're getting older. It may feel shorter because you're experiencing fewer things for the first time. So go somewhere new, learn something difficult, make a ridiculous memory, do something your future self will actually remember. Because one day, you might look back and realize that the moments that felt like they lasted the longest were the moments when you were truly paying attention.